For the drawing, you want to have something we call bat, B-A-T, okay, B-A-T. And we have a couple of them here, right there in the corner. And the reason we are putting the bat is that after you're done with them, you can just simply pick it up and then replace with another bat, and you can keep on using the same wheel. That's the main idea of using the bat. And for setting up the bat, these are a little bit different. So for this kind of a wooden bat, you need to have this, okay, back gripper, wet it so it's soft. And you want to put this one on here. The reason we are putting this is that this bat the hole has become loose after years of use. The hole is getting bigger. If you don't have this, when you're doing the throwing, your bat might be moving, shifting. So this is called bat gripper. So it's helping your bat to stay in position. Okay, and then all you need to do is put it on the bat pin, and once you're done, just pick it up. Okay, pick it up. Because this kind of a wooden material, it's actually warp. Okay, if you see it, it's warp in one direction. So if you're putting on, make sure the bump it up on top of it instead of this way. If you do this way, sometimes it's not catching, and your bat might fly away. Okay, so if you choosing this bat, the bumping part on top of it. Okay, so this is the wooden bat, which I personally don't like that kind of bat. Okay, this is the other bat is made from the plastic, and there are two positions, two size for the bat pins. One is for the regular one is 10 inches apart, and you see that there are 3 dots here. So for our wheel, it's 10 inches apart. You want to find the 3 dots here, and then you want to line up this hole here and pop it in, and then you gonna wiggle it right here. Okay. Once you catch it, you want to apply a little pressure so that your bat pin is catch by the pins. Okay, catching the pin, so your bat is stay in position. Okay.
Do you need the gripper with this as well?
Yeah, you can use the gripper. Sometimes if you don't use the gripper, it's moving around. It's kind of wiggle.
Okay.
This way. Okay, this way. So put the back gripper is helping it. Of course, you have a large one here. Okay, large one. So you could use that. So these are the bats that our studio provided for you. You can use them. So make sure that after you're done, put it back there, okay? Clean up and put it back. And sometimes if you are making the pieces that is very large, you won't be able to remove from your wheel, then you can let it sit here. But if your piece is not very big, I would suggest you just remove it and put it on a little wooden board or wooden tray. So it will save some room on the shelving space, okay? So that's the bed. Here is another bed that this is my bed. I designed it, okay? And it's a lot stronger and it's easier for you to throw with and without warping it, okay? This is my arm bed. So I will do my demonstration on using my arm bed. And for the tool for beginner to throw with, usually you will need maybe one needle tool and one knife and one rib, okay? And this is the cutting wire for cutting the clay. And also there's another one is the rib. It's a metal rib. So mostly all you need is probably these 4 pieces and maybe a sponge, okay, a sponge. So they all come with the basic kit. If you have bought the basic kit, they have 8 items in the basic kit. So you have a sponge, needle tool, a wooden knife, a wooden rib, and a metal rib, and the cutting wire. Okay. So basically, you needed it to this for the basic throwing. Right, and now I'm going to use the wire to cut the clay off. I would say a small amount of clay. Okay, maybe I would say this much. Okay, this much of clay, about 1.5 pounds. Okay, 1.5 pounds of clay. And when you are not using the clay, make sure you tie it up with the tie to tie it up, so that to keep the moisture inside. And then here is the clay that sitting in the bag. So sometimes it feels like hard, but once you kind of slap on it, pound on it, it's actually become a little bit softer. Okay, that's very typical for the clay that sitting and not using for a while. It feels like very hard. Okay, or some people do this way: just pick up your bag of clay and then drop it on the floor a couple times. This is called wake up of clay. Okay. And you will feel the difference, okay, when you do that. Okay, so slightly get some pressure to the clay, and you'll feel better. Okay. And now, before we start it, you could kind of foam the clay on your hand. Okay, pound it like this, and the more circlish, the better. Okay, pound it on your hand, and then put your clay here in the center. Okay. To put in the center is very important. Put your clay in the center. You want to win in the beginning, okay? The first step. If you put your clay here, when the wheel spin, it's going to go. Wheel is okay. Right. So it's going to be very hard. Because you see that your arm is moving with it. So the best way is get your clay toward the center. Okay. How can you find the center? If you have the wooden bed, very easy to find the center. Just get a sponge. You can make a circle, right? Make a mark. So when you place your clay, you place in the center. If you have the plastic one, get a pencil and draw some circles. Okay, pencil. So it helps. That help a lot. All right. So that's the beginning. So make sure your clay is in the center. The more center, the better. And you can kind of use the hand to spin the wheel and check it. See which spot is a little bit off. You just lightly pound it. Okay. This is called slap centering. Okay. You slap on it. And you adjust it. So your clay is more or less in the circle, and also your clay sticking on your bed. Okay. So this serves to function your bed. You stick your clay on the bed, and also you adjust it. So your clay is in the center. It's a lot easier. Okay. All right. So that's first thing. And then spin the wheel. Okay. And let's see here. This is the full power, right? So you push it, the pedal here. You get full power. And I don't recommend you start with the full power, because the faster the wheel spin, the more pressure or the more responding to your hand. So it's very hard to control it. So if you are a beginner, I don't recommend you do the full speed. I will reduce it to maybe like 70% of it. Okay, something like this. Yeah, that is good. And the pedal is going to hold in position, so you don't need to worry about how to control the speed. Once you adjust it, just keep it going. Okay, you don't need to worry about how to control the speed. You want your speed to be consistent, right? And then we start to add water. Okay, to the surface. So water is to make it slippery, but you don't need to use a lot of water, just enough water. Okay. I don't recommend you use a sponge to draw some water and then squeeze on it. That's too much, because the water is going to your splash pan. So you don't need to do that. Just all you need to do is soak your hand in the bucket and brush it over. That's it. So there's no excessive water going down to your splash pan, right? So that's the first slippery, and then also you control your speed control, slippery, and then the thing is supporting, okay? So when you apply your pressure onto the clay is gonna push you back too. So you have to find some spot that is very strong to hold your arm, right? So if your hand is like do this, see that? It's gonna push you back and forth. So it's fairly unstable. What do? Rest your elbow here. So when you push, you see that? The clay is pushing it back, but you got a support here. So that is much better position, right? So try to lean your arm, rest your elbow here on the splash pan. Or some people do, they can raise up, if they have a block of wood, they can raise up their legs and then they can do that, right? It's even stronger. So you use your laps to support it too. That's another way. So I talk about 3 important things. I don't know if you remember. First, it's the speed, right? Second is water to make it slippery, right? And the third one is to find support, right? So SSS, speed, slippery, support. Always keep that in mind, okay? And now, let's do the moving the clay. So, for put your hand more efficient, is that this is the force, so you want to use this force to do that. You are not going to use this force to do that. Because, see that? There's no support. So if you're using this, it's wasting your energy. So what do? This bone is transferred your force here. See that? This angle? This bone is transferred this. So 1, 2, and 3, I will use my right fingertips because the wheel spinning counterclockwise. If you do that, your left fingertips will be catch into the clay. So use the right, because it's right, it's more following that direction of the wheel, right? So forming that triangular force. 1, 2, 3, right? Triangular force, and rest your arm here and squeeze the clay and slowly go up and slowly release your hands. Okay, it's sneak away. Right here, right? Push. If you let go, see that? Start to get wobble, right? Because you apply the force and then you all of a sudden let go, so the clay doesn't know what to do. So it got dancing, right? So sneak away, then slowly release your hand. So that's 4 S's. Speed, slippery, support, squeeze up, and sneak away. Right? You cone it up. Now you want to push it down. Okay? For pushing it down, I will put my right hand here. Again, the same position, but my left hand is going move up to this top of the tip to push that down. Okay, let's just use left hand. Okay, so what my left hand is doing, okay, slippery. So this is my left hand pushing it down. Right, you see that I'm bracing it. So you see that the clay is getting low and wider, right? Right. So that is the force. But you have 2 hands, right? So what the other hand is doing? Pinch, right? When you're pushing down, all together, pinch. You see that my arm is very good position and the clay has nowhere to go. Right? So that's how you center. Easy, right? Okay, so let's knock it off. All right, it's off center, it's dancing now. Speed, you see that I let go my foot pedal, so I don't worry about that, how to control it, right? Just let it go. And slippery, support, get my arm, triangular, 1, 2, 3, right? Force, squeeze the clay up, sneak away, right? And move my arm, move my left hand here, using this part here, push down but wrap around my right hand, right? Push down and you see that my arm is now moving, so the clay has nowhere to go, right? It's centered. Right? So that's how I center my clay. If you follow that, it should be very easy, okay? Very easy to do. All right, so that is the centering. Now we done with the centering. And how can you tell if it's in the center? Okay. See that? The clay is not moving, right? See that? The clay is dancing, okay? Or you can lean back further away and you can see that if when you're spinning and your clay is moving, that is not in the center. And you have to get your clay toward the center before you do the next step, okay? Center is the very fundamental, very basic. It's very important, okay? Get your clay toward the center, right? Okay, and if you have too much clay, excessive clay in the corner, I will use my right hand, right? Just pinch it, right? And this hand can help it. Pinch it and gather the clay toward the center. Push it, right? Push it toward the center. And then cone it up, sneak away, little bit of water, and compress it down. With my right hand very stable, the clay has nowhere to go. Okay? And one other thing that people might make a mistake all the time is that they tend to make the top flat. When they do, and when they push down, make the top flat. And then when they cone up, see that? You create a volcano there, right? Because you make the top flat. So you don't want to do the top flat. So when you start it, always make the center part a little bit higher. So when you cone it up, you don't create a volcano, right? Squeeze it up. See that? I don't create any volcano at all, right? Okay, center. Now I am going to drill the hole. Before I drill, you can make the top slightly flat, okay? Just use my left hand and right hand stay in the position, right? The top is flat. Now I'm gonna drill. The way I drill is, again, put my hand here on the side of it. I'm going to use my right thumb. Just dig in from the center, right? And you see that this is the key, right? Always brace your arm somewhere. And use my thumb to dig in the center. You can also use it both hands, right? Both thumb, drill, and you leverage, okay? But you see that my hand still holding here. Drill and drill, right? So open the initial hole in the center. Initial hole in the center. Now, constantly add water to the surface, right? So that now my splash pan is still quite clean because I don't have access too much water. The water going there, right? But I recycle my slip, right? This is a slip. You can rip it up from your finger and just brush it to the surface. So slip stick to the surface, water doesn't. Water go to the splash pan, okay? Right, and now, after I do my initial opening, I'm going to drill using my left hand, okay? Left hand, and start at this point from the center, right? But when I'm drilling this way, my hand is too loose, right? Not very stable. What do? Put your hand here, put your hand here, right? You see that? The whole position is all coming together, all right? And keep on going, drill it all the way until, I would say, depending on how tall you want to leave your foot, I would say at least quarter of an inch, okay? At least quarter of an inch. You can go leave it up to half an inch to 3/4 inch, depending on how tall you want to leave your foot, okay? So now, how can you tell how thick the base is? stop the wheel. Get your needle tool, poke a hole in the very center, right? All the way push to the back. And get your index finger, hold it here, put your index finger all the way to where you touch the clay and pull it out, right? So that is the thickness of the clay, right? You could go slightly lower, so that's how you check it. How about the hole? You just poke. Once you go there, and compress, the hole will be gone. Okay, so you don't need to worry about the hole, right? So I could go slightly down a bit and do the same thing right here. So that's good. And you can double check it again. Okay. Right? You see that? This is about quarter of inch. Okay, quarter of inch. Okay, so that's good. You don't want to keep on going down, because if you keep on going down, you don't have any pattern. Okay, so stop going down. So what do? You're gonna make the base. Now the inner part is like forming a V shape, right? V shape. But if you are making a cylinder or some bottle shape, actually you want to open a U shape of a base. Okay, so what do? Get your finger toward the center and then just pull sideways, level, okay, sideways. And again, the right hand brace it, the left hand do the job. And you can put your hand here, and you pull the clay sideways, 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 right? And you see that my wheel's not going super fast, right? You can actually slightly increase it. Not too fast, but not too slow either. So that is a good speed, okay? So I pull sideways, you see that the bottom now is flat. And you can go back there and use the fingertip from the center towards your right, okay? Always towards your right, because if you go across to the center to your left, your fingertip is gonna get caught into the clay. Right? Always work on, if your wheel is spinning this direction, okay? Work on from the center point towards your right. Okay. So get the fingertip there and move slowly, 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 sideways, 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 sideways. So now you see that the base is opening up, okay? And you're ready to lift it, okay? Lift it. Slippery, right? If you don't have enough, get your hand in the water and just brush it over. Now it's slippery, okay, slippery. I'm gonna ready to lift the wall up, okay? So what do? Thumb is this short, this, right? So you pinch, okay, you pinch, right, pinch. All the fingers inside, right? And the thumb outside, then pinch, and you are going to lift the wall up, okay? Slippery. Dip the wall, and I'm just going to show you one hand, but actually when you do it so, you could put your right hand here to support your thumb, okay? But I'm going to just use one finger to support my thumb, okay? This way, thumb, pinch, and you lift your wall, slowly but very steady. Right. You just pinch and then you lift and compress the top. Okay, so that is the lifting. Basically, it's just the thumb, because your piece is small. Okay, small, so you could do that and lift it. And I'm going to brush the slip to the surface and a little bit of water, right? Make sure every time before you work on your clay, you want everywhere to be slippery, okay? That is important, one of the S, okay? All right, I will do it again, okay? Do it again, because my thumb can still reach on the very bottom. And pinch the wall and lift it up. And slowly let go, right? So you see that the wall, and this, you see that the mark This mark is how my hand is moving up according to the wheel. Okay, so usually you want to have like a 1/4 inch increment, right? 1/4 inch, meaning one rotation you move a 1/4 inch, one rotation you move a 1/4 inch. So more consistent, the better. Okay, the more consistent, the better. Right. So that is the lifting. Right, and now we get to the point that my thumb it's no longer reachable to the very bottom, but I still want to do the same thing, right? Pinch and lift it up. So what do I do? Slippery, slippery. I am extending my right thumb this way, right? Initially, I was doing this way, right? Now, I am extending my right thumb, right? See that? And this finger is letting it hold it the wall, on the wall. No pressure here. Pressure is the tip of my thumb. Okay, tip of my thumb. Right here, see that? And pinch the wall and lift it up. One for rotation, I go up. One for rotation, I go up. Right? And now you see, here, start to get wobbly, meaning that wall is very thin. Okay, it's thin already, so you don't want to keep on pulling it up, right? So this is the stage you could do your shaping, okay, do your shaping. But before you do that, you can use the rib to stabilize or compress the wall. So what do you do? Hold this rib, put your finger inside, and push the wall onto the rib and slowly move up. Right? Always, what do you see? My wrist is here supporting it. Right? So you see that wall is straight up again. And then you can do the shaping if you wanted to. Push harder, okay? I'm not going to use my, actually you should, okay? But I'm just showing you how the shaping is. So just get my hand, get it slippery. So from inside, my finger is pushing out, right? Okay, so that you blow it out, and you have to do it little by little. Okay, don't do it too aggressively. Right, so you blow it out, so you have a base. And if you want to do more beautiful surface, you can use the metal rib. Okay, you push this against your metal rib, and you see that now I have a support, so the wall is getting more stable because of my outside hand. Right? Okay, so that's how you shape it. And then you can trim the excess clay off the corner, okay? Get the wooden knife, and you chop up from the corner, slowly, slowly. Right, until you touch the bed. You can get a needle tool. I personally prefer using my own tool. Okay, this is my own tool that I designed it. Just go underneath and cut it until you see the tip, and you stop the wheel. Okay, so that's how much clay you can remove from the corner. You can do the rim to make it better by, if you don't have, we have a material called, the same material as that, you put it on the bottom, the back gripper, we call chamois. You can use the chamois to round the lips, okay? You just hold it, and here 2 fingers and you compressed it. And now you see that the rim is nicely round. That's it. Okay, so that's the basic throwing. So get your cylinder and again blow it out. Later on, I will show you how to the bowl. But here today, get your cylinder first. Okay, get it to the perfect center. Okay, if you have a perfect center, I will give you an A plus. Okay, today, okay, the goal is get a perfect center. Okay, and then the rest of it is A plus plus. Okay, plus plus. Okay. So, but the beginning, get your clay into the center before you do anything else. Okay, and here is the hand position. Okay, let's cut it open. So I didn't do anything on the top actually. So this part here will be a bit thicker. Okay, at the bottom you need to hold the shape so it's also a bit thicker on the bottom. But in the middle it's fairly thin. Okay, fairly thin. Right. So you see that? That is the middle part that you stretch it out, so thinner. I didn't do the top, I told you that, thicker. And the base slightly thicker, so to hold the shape. Okay, so that's the basic throwing. And for I bring my other TA here, so you will be able to see the fingers, right? So this is your cylinder. Your inside hand is gonna be like forming naturally like this way, right? So push, the inside hand is forming like this. And you go straight up, okay, when you lift. And the outside hand, this hand, you see that I have a thumb here? And the 4 fingers there, right? You see that? So you are going to hold your hand like this position, right here. This, right? So you are actually twisting your arm upside down like this. And you pull. And the reason why I'm doing so is the pulling point is the thumb and the fingers inside, right? So your elbow is always attached to your body, so which is more stable. So that's why you do this way, okay? Instead of put your hand here, you are going to throw at 5 o'clock position, right? This is 6 o'clock. You see that my thumb is at 5 o'clock. So your elbow is always tucked into your tummy here. So you always have a very good support, right? And then you do that, and you pull it up. Okay, so that's the position. And if you're good at it, later you can do something larger, taller too. But at the beginning, you just start with centering, opening, and lifting your wall. And if you like, after you lift your wall, you can cut it open and see the section and what the spot that you need to put more pressure to make it thinner all the way. Okay, you want to make it thin all the way from the bottom to the top. Okay, so that is our basic throwing. And your clay might be slightly too stiff. Okay, next week I will show you how to fix your clay. But today I want you to try the first fresh bag of clay, which is slightly harder. If you're not good at it, you can make your clay a little bit softer. That will be easier for you to move the clay.